Hey, Hound Dogs, I'm David Hankins.
And I'm Paul Hankins.
And welcome to On the Air with Power Squared. This show started out as a behind the scenes of Power Squared. That was supposed to be the idea behind it, to bring you behind the scenes, show what our process was. Of late, we've
Gotten epically sidetracked.
well, we've expanded our content.
Yes.
We've got a book review. We've I guess talked about a video game. We've also had a lot of guests on, which have been very informative.
Yes.
We've had our team on occasionally.
Yes.
But we thought because we have an issue number 11 that's coming out soon. Now, quotes soon. If you can see there you go, quotes. We thought we would do a sort of a deep dive on one of the pages from that issue, which we sort of picked at random.
Yeah.
If you're not familiar, issue 11 is What's in a Name Part 2. And obviously picks up where issue number 10, What's in a Name Part 1, ended.
Yes.
So we thought we would do a little bit of kind of catch you up if you're unfamiliar. If you're just stumbled across this, Power Squared is a comic book, tells the story of college-age twins Marty and Eli Powers who discover they were granted superpowers when they were young.
Yes.
And this is, again, issue number 11. In this, the boys face a new adversary called the Convincer, who uses the power of persuasion to get people to attack the boys.
Yeah.
To get other people to do it. And if you recall, in issue 10, it ended with a
Explosive climax.
That's right. I was really proud of that.
Yeah.
Anyway, so as issue 11 opens, the boys are being interviewed they're reading the
school newspaper,
the Hound Dog's House. Sorry, and they're reading about the incident at their uncle's apartment.
Yes.
That ended issue number 10. We also Marty is sort of in between, has attracted the editor of the newspaper's attention.
Yes.
And
Quincy Victoria Davidson.
Yes. And he's also, as you might recall, has sort of a budding relationship with Mocha, the human form of the kitsune that gave them their powers. But he's a little not sure about the interspecies side of that. So, and then he's also you see him being sort of jealous of Eli and Jennifer, who have a kind of a very open relationship and they're very affectionate with one another in public.
Yeah.
And you kind of, at that age, maybe you want that kind of relationship, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And then we also, during the issue, you get a little history of the school, and you get a little bit more of background as to why Mocha gave them the powers that she did.
Yeah.
Because that's a question some people have had is, why did she give them powers?
Yeah.
And now you know. You will find out.
You will know.
That's right. So we picked a page kind of at random. It's not, we're not here because this was a page that took a lot. It was really hard to put together necessarily. But we thought it was a good illustration of kind of what our process is.
Yeah.
And again, it's our process. If you're doing your own comic book, you may have your own, and this does work for you. That's fine.
Yeah.
We don't have as many steps as some people do. We don't have a flatter, that kind of stuff. So, and then you do the editing, so we don't have like a separate person we go to and all that. So it's it's our process.
Yeah. So it works for us.
Right. Okay.
So I guess I should switch scene.
Yep. So we started, this is the first, if you're listening to this, there's going to be some visuals. We'll try to be as descriptive as we can. This is the first time we wrote this page.
Yeah.
It's from 2015, which sounds...
Apparently.
Yeah, well, that's the save date on the... So this is the first version of what happens on the page. And it starts with, the description is, the compound he's mixed seems to be boiling as the man walks away. Eli and Marty notice. Eli telepathically, well, he's walking away. He shouldn't walk away and leave it.
I think he knows that.
Maybe we should turn off the burner.
I think it's too late. Eli and Marty jump to their feet. The other students are sitting at their desks looking down at their cell phones.
All right, everyone. We need your attention.
Everyone needs to leave the room immediately. The other students sit staring at them. Meanwhile, the experiment starts to smoke.
Eli. Now, people, we only have seconds. I'm having a hard time reading it.
Everyone out. Students finally start to get up and head for the doors. Smoke is rolling up from the compound. Let's go, people. Out.
Marty and Eli are shooing everyone out the classroom door.
Yeah.
Wow, that just sounds great, doesn't
Riveting.
it? Yes, I know. Especially, I think what we bring to it through reading it really adds a lot. So that's the first time we ever got around to writing the story. And again, as I recall, usually these scripts are a kind of just a bunch of stuff written, and then we come back through and go, okay, this will be this page, this will be this panel, this will be this page, this will be this panel.
Yeah.
And that did not happen until the 5th version of this. Basically, we save every version. Doesn't mean there's giant changes between them, but sometimes there are. And in this case, this is the first time we actually broke down what page this was on and what panel. So this is page 17, if you've been wondering, from issue 11. So it's page 17, panel 1. The compound Dr. Monroe. So we've given the guy a name.
Yeah.
Which is if you're playing along, a Simpsons reference. Dr. Monroe seems to be boiling as he walks away. Eli and Marty notice. Eli telepathically, he shouldn't walk away and leave that.
Marty, I think he knows that.
Maybe we should turn off the burner.
Page 17, panel 2. The experiment starts to react. I think it's too late. Page 17, panel 3. Eli and Marty jump to their feet. The other students are sitting at their desks looking down at their cell phones.
All right, everyone, we need your attention.
Everyone needs to leave the room immediately. Page 17, panel 4. The other students sit staring at them. Meanwhile, the experiment starts to smoke.
Eli.
Now, people,
No. Okay.
we only have seconds. Marty, everyone out. Page 17, panel 5. Students finally start to get up and head for the doors. Smoke is rolling up from the compound. Marty and Eli are shooing everyone out the classroom door.
Let's go, people. Out, out, out. Wow, that's a little better.
Yes.
I think the 3rd or 4th time we do this will actually be good. So that's the first time we actually kind of decided what the order, what the visuals more are going to be.
Yeah.
And kind of how they're going to flow. So we actually did 14 versions of the script, and I think the 14th version, as part of the process, when we send it to Rachel Wells, who's our artist, and has been since issue 6.
Yes.
She will give us feedback, and sometimes panels will come and go, images will change, things like that as part of her process, and we try to reflect that in the final script.
Which we can see here.
Okay, so basically, I don't think a whole lot changed between versions 5 and version 14, but I wanted to show you kind of the final version of it.
Yeah.
Other things may have changed in the other 2 issues or other 59 pages. So we would have a final version. That was just the whole point, was that we went through 14 versions of this script.
Yeah.
And again, you may get it down perfect in the first time you do it, or you may be the artist and you draw and then you write later. But our process starts with sort of the written word.
Yeah. So in the next part,
Yes.
is we got thumbnails.
Yeah. Rachel sends us, for every page, sends us 2 sets of thumbnails. And we go through them. Paul and I sit down. She sends them usually like in the morning. We'll sit down at night after I'm off work or the day is done, and go over them. And sometimes it's, this panel from A and this panel from B, whatever. So let's look at 17A and 17B, the 2 versions. So basically, if you're listening at home, we encourage you to try to watch the video because you can see this, and of course, encourage you to eventually buy the book when it's out. But basically, you see kind of a classroom. She adds the red circles are where she adds for the dialogue.
Yeah.
And we see a Bunsen burner smoking, people in classrooms sitting around desks, a close-up of this, I don't know, a beaker or whatever you would call it, boiling over,
Yeah.
smoke rising, then a shot of the classroom. You see this students, and we're not trying to peg all students as being unattentive, but everybody tends to sort of wait for the class to start and they're probably doing something else until it does happen. So they're not noticing this thing happening. The boys get up and try to get everybody's attention, and then you see them trying to usher everybody out of the room.
So, and then B.
B is sort of a different layout and a different, shots in some ways. It's a different, version of the classroom. It's more, I'll say, ground level, as opposed to higher above, which was kind of the other one was. Then you see the beaker boiling. You see the classroom. You see them getting the kids up, and then you see them ushering them out the door. But it's a different layout.
Yeah.
It's like 4 panels on one side, and the 5th panel sort of kind of running the right side. I'm not good at describing this, but anyway, it's basically the same.
It's the same thing, just drawn a little differently.
Yeah, and so it's really great because sometimes we do see like, oh, this is a good shot from this version. This is a good shot from that version. So if you're watching, you can see that we communicate with her via emails. And so we sent an email saying, in this case, we're going to go with 17A. And I just show that as a kind of behind the scenes process. What do we do?
Yeah.
And you can see in some of the page, sometimes it's was it page 19? It's panels 1 through 4 from one version and 5 through 6 from another version. So that's kind of common for us. Or a lot of times it's A or B.
So in this case, we picked A.
Right. So I just wanted to sort of show that as part of the process. So what happens next is then she sends us pencils.
So let me get that for a second. There we go.
All right. So basically now, if you're watching this, you can see that it's not really too far from the thumbnail that we picked.
Yeah.
It's basically the same layout. It's in essence the same, I'll say shots. It's not a movie, but it's the same images. You see the classroom. You see something sort of boiling over. You see a person walking away. There's a man in the middle of the panel that's walking away. Long-haired guy. I think he's got patches on his elbows. So you see him walking away. There's a close-up of the beaker that is boiling furiously. You see a lot of smoke rising. Then you see the classroom with this thing happening. The boys are noticing that the other students are a little, I'll say, unaware of what's going on. And then the boys are getting everybody out the door.
Yeah.
So that's... Now, she sent that to us, and we sit down. So our process, if you're ever curious, is we try to do 8 pages a month. And that's 8 pages that she draws, 8 pages that are colored, and 8 pages that are lettered.
Yeah.
And that could be the same 8 pages. Usually it's different 8 pages every month. And so she sends us the 8 pages, usually 4 at a time when they're penciled, and then we'll go through those. And since this is the last 4 pages, we do a 20-page issue, mostly for costs. But also, since this is the last 4 pages, we would have gotten these 4 pages in the cover.
Yeah.
Just sort of give everybody a background. So she sent this to us, and we looked at it, and we had a comment. One of the things we wanted was more smoke.
Yeah. Well, you can see that, but that's for posterity.
Yeah, there's an email if you're watching again, listening at home, saying that basically kind of our comment is that it's good, but could we have some more smoke? And lo and behold, more smoke. So you can see in panels 3 and 5 and 4, there's more smoke going on.
Yes.
A little more ominous.
So then,
After that, she sends us a JPEG of the basically, and it's sort of it's an inked version of the penciled page.
Yeah.
And it's in there just to show you that we get a JPEG from her that we look at again. And sometimes, I mean, honestly, sometimes we'll go, oh, you know what? I think this last time we're working on issue 18 right now, and there was like we went, you know what? It'd be better if we didn't have this one panel if we took it out.
Yeah.
So sometimes, you know, I tend to find things at different places in the process.
Yeah.
Sometimes, and sometimes we don't find it. But you know, you'll look at something and go, oh, that looks good, and then suddenly like it gets colored, and you go, oh, wait a minute, that's, you know, it sparks something else. In this case, we didn't really have any comments.
Yeah.
And so she then sends us a TIFF file, which, surprise, surprise, is exactly like the JPEG, but just a different format.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if we have the TIFF, but it's essentially the same.
Yeah.
And then we send the TIFF to the artist, to the colorist. In this case, it was Nina Gaylord, who had been our colorist since issue 6 as well.
Yeah.
And left us after the story arc was over on her own. But anyway, so you can see that now we have colors, which makes it a little more, you know, more like a comic book. One of the things that we have, that I assume most people have when they for the consistency, is we have color guides. If you've read the book, you notice that maybe Marty and Eli changed significantly from 5 to 6 when we got a new artist involved. When Rachel came on board, the design changed.
Yeah. For the better.
For the better. I didn't say it was bad, but it changed. But we wanted to have the same coloring live on.
Yes.
So the previous colorist had put together color guides, and the first person put one together, and then the second person added on to it, and then Nina, of course, added on to hers as new characters come on. So Rachel kind of, when she designs a character, the newest character for this issue, for this story arc, was Quincy, Victoria Davidson. And so she kind of picks the colors at that point of and we help her. What's the hair going to be? What's the color scheme? That kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And it's part of the process of coming up with the character. And so that is something that is also relayed to the colorist. So she would use the same coloring for the character as from the design, as well as, so Marty and Eli, Marty has red glasses, Marty has blue, Mocha's eyes are violet. I mean, there's just certain things you're going to see from issue to issue.
Yeah.
So what she's adding here is sort of the classroom colors. This thing that's boiling over is orange, which just sounds like it's about ready to explode. And so you can see that. So anyway, basically, it really, I think, adds a lot. The coloring, the art is really great, but the coloring makes it sort of a little more like a comic book.
Yeah. And then that gets
sent to the letterer, which is Trevor Hankins. He was one of the co-creators of the comic book, and you occasionally see him on the show. But he's the letterer and has been from the beginning. He's the one, besides us, the only other constant since the beginning is him, and he letters the book. Now he on his, maybe this is something that other people do, but we have telepathy in ours, and so his way of identifying it was to color code the telepathy, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So when Eli speaks telepathically, it's outlined in red, it's blue for Marty, and it's purple for Mocha. And I don't think we've had anybody else speak telepathically. But so it just we had green for Kirby, I think, when he did stuff.
Yeah.
So anyway, basically, he adds the dialogue, and one of the things that, again, I've always liked is that if he can change it or shorten it or whatever if it's way too long. He doesn't usually do that, but he has that power.
Yeah.
And then we usually look at this kind of really towards the end, right before we publish. But So you can see that the dialogue has been added.
Yes.
And I guess we don't need to read it again, but it's basically what you've already heard. Basically, that's just sort of kind of going through, again, it's our process. It's not maybe the greatest process ever, but it's ours and it's worked for us. I guess, again, we're working on issue number 18.
Yeah.
So anyway, I thought we'd kind of show you a little bit of the background. So issue number 11 is coming out soon. It's been submitted. For some reason, we let Comixology pick the release date.
Yeah.
Because we started with Comixology, so it's a little, kind of, I don't know, grandfathered in for some reason. It was, I think, kind of funny. The last issue, we weren't going to wait for them. We picked the date, and then they ended up putting it on the same date as it worked out.
Yeah.
So issue 11 is just as a reminder, will be available in digital format on Comixology, on Global Comics, Kindle, Indie Planet, and you can also get it in print through Indie Planet and Artith-Merrick.
Yes.
And if you're looking for how can I can't remember all this, you can find them all on our website. When it's up, when these are up, you'll be able to find them, and it's powersquaredcomicbook.com / the student store, the college store,
Campus store.
the campus store. Gosh, Leah, that's me.
Or just go to powersquaredcomicbook.com and click on the campus store.
Right, and you'll be able to order them directly from there if you want to.
Yeah.
So we thought if you watched our unboxing video earlier, we opened up the proofs from issues 11 and 12.
Yeah.
From both Kablam, which is Indie Planet, and Artith-Merrick.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things that we didn't do on screen is that we had some comments about the proof from Artith-Merrick, and they've redone it.
Yeah.
So we have that right here unopened. We thought we'd just take a look. Now we don't have the other one they sent us, but we'll just go with this. That's 12 and 11. So here we go. Issue number 11. So as anyone that creates a comic book, you kind of want to make sure that the coloring is what you want. And I think that was sort of our issue. A lot of the blues were very purple inside the issue.
Yeah.
So let's look at the particular. And we can actually show them this page. If they haven't got tired of it already. So this is the page in print. So you can see what it looks like. And I think it was issue 12 we had the issue with.
Yeah.
The coloring was off. And then this also had a little line on the side, which is gone now.
Yeah.
So anyway, we just thought we'd kind of go through it again. So this is...
That's where you can enroll.
Yes.
For those watching.
So if you want to get our newsletter, which is a monthly newsletter now called The Hound Dogs Howl, after this college paper, you enroll at powersquaredcomicbook.com /
/SRCC.
Right. And so you would enroll and you'd receive the comic book.
Yes. And more behind the scenes info.
Right. And there's also the bark.
Yeah.
Which we'll send out when we actually find out what the date is.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So if you do buy it and read it, which we encourage you to do, and encourage you to buy issue number 10 so that you kind of know what's going on with issue number 11. And if you want to let us know what you think about it, you can write to us at info@powersquaredcomicbook.com. Again, this is on the website.
Yeah.
Anyway, anything else?
I think that about covers it.
All right.
If you're watching this on YouTube and you liked it, consider leaving a like and subscribing and ringing the bell when more of these, so you can see when more of these go up.
All right. So until next time, I'm David Hankins.
I'm Paul Hankins.
And this has been On the Air with Power Squared.